Well, good morning, guys and gals. It's me, George, the Shade Tree Effects man. Actually, it's afternoon. It is about 12:30. If you look underneath there, yeah, see that? 12:30 in the afternoon. And we're back out here in the shop, and I've just lit the heater to get us warmed up in here a little bit. It's about 26 degrees in here, I think. No, not even that. Yeah, about 26 degrees, 28 degrees, something like that. We'll get it up to 40 and shut it off. We're going to work on the snowblower first thing, and I've already checked the oil, and it needs to be added to, but the customer said that it was shooting gas out of the exhaust, which is why he shut it off. And even though the oil is at the add line, it smells of gas. So I'm a little bit hesitant to go ahead and change the oil and then try starting it before I get into the carburetor. And I noticed something here right off the bat. Look at that. Those screws are loose, which means the whole carburetor may be loose, although it doesn't appear to be right at the moment, but those should be tight, not finger loose, because that's what holds the whole unit together. So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to remove, that screw is already missing. This unit is only 2 years old. That's what the guy told me. And both of the screws that hold this cover on are missing. So I don't know if the owner already tried to do some work on it or not. But I think with what he told me, first thing I'm going to do is get into the carburetor. So I'll set you up on the stand, and I'll take you along with me for the journey. How's that? Well, the first thing we do is take this choke lever off. Well, let this be a warning to you. Getting this choke lever off is very, very difficult. I started doing it with the camera rolling, and it wouldn't come off. I ended up spraying some PB Blaster down in there. That didn't really help it. I tried prying on it with a screwdriver. I finally ended up putting this piece here on. This is a scraper, gasket scraper, and then I put this underneath it and prying with both of them, and of course that thing went flying when it finally came off, and I thought sure I had broken it because it was, whew, it was hard coming off. So just so you know, it's not going to come off easily. So we pull this up and off of here and get it out of the way. And I'll unplug the key, the ignition key thing here, which is also not coming off easily. If I can find my little screwdriver. I just had it here a couple of minutes ago. Get that off of there, and we'll unplug our primer bulbs. Get that off of there. Nothing comes apart the way they show it to you Yeah, see the air filter is all loose on here. My guess is that somebody's had this apart at one time or another already. Either that or it just vibrates so bad when it's running. This is the air filter. It's kind of powdery looking in there. I'm going to shut off the fuel, which is let me lower you down here. Maybe I should be doing this handheld, it seems like, because I need both hands. There's the fuel shut off right in there, and it's already turned off. As you can see, it's down to the minimum, and we'll turn our throttle lever back. Oh man, stuff is stiff on here. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do now, rather than take the carburetor completely off right off the bat, I'm going to pull the float bowl off. Okay, this has got two screws on the side. This doesn't have the single bolt on the bottom. And as I have increasingly learned, newer is not always better. Now, he didn't say that there was any problem with the way it ran in particular, only that he had it running and he walked away from it and he came back and he noticed that it was shooting gas out of the exhaust. So we'll pull the float bowl off, see what it looks like inside, and if necessary, then we can dig in deeper. And part of the gasket's coming off and part of it's not. Looks to me like it hasn't been run at all this year. So I don't know if he was talking about that problem from last year or what, but this is dry as a bone. A lot of crusties down in there. So we'll clean this out and we'll try starting it before we go any further. How's that? I'll get this cleaned out and I'll bring you back. Okay, that looks a lot better, don't it? We put it in the sand blaster and cleaned it out. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drain a little bit of the gas through the float bowl, make sure the needle valve, make sure the gas is coming in there okay and that there's no water in the gas. So let me get a plastic container here. And here we have a nice plastic container. My wife likes to drink or eat yogurt. Turn on the fuel. Comes out okay. And the float seems to shut it off okay. Now the next question is to see what the gas looks like that's coming down out of there. And from what I can see, looks pretty clean in there. Let me tip you down instead of tipping the container back. Looks pretty clean. I don't see any separation going on. Can you see right down in the bottom there? Come on now, focus. See those little globules down in there? Yeah, there's a little bit of water in there. So I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to drain the tank. See this line here? This comes out of there and goes down where you can't see it. But I'm going to take that off the carburetor and I'm going to drain the fuel out of it. And we'll go from there. Okay, I'm going to drain some directly out of the tank. Wonder how much fuel there isn't. I didn't even check to see how much gas there was in it. Obviously not very much. Well, after putting I put a little bit more of my own gas in there, and then put a little bit of dry gas in, and you can see how cloudy that is and how much junk there is separated down in there. Looks like I'm going to have to totally drain out the gas tank and get it cleaned out. And I ended up pulling the carburetor off because even with the float bowl and everything is working, the float works, but it leaks all around here because of the rubber seal that is gone. And it's not leaking because the float bowl is overflowing, I don't believe. I think it's coming out between the plastic and the metal. So I'm going into price to see what it's going to cost for a new carburetor. So I don't think that this comes apart, from what I could tell anyway. It doesn't appear to have any kind of a mechanical way of separating it, as far as I could tell. So, and this is a little bit different monkey than what I have seen. And I told the customer that there was a good possibility it might need the carburetor replaced. But we've worked at it and done what we can with this one to take it to the point we're at. So now we're going to go see what it's going to cost for a new carburetor. So that'll be it for this for today, I expect. And once I go in and warm up a little bit and maybe have a little bit to eat, then I'm going to come back out here. And my intent is to sit down here and I'll have my heater going and we're going to work at putting the steering box together. Once that's assembled, then we can bring that in the house and keep it relatively clean in there.